Hi, welcome to the Corner of Knit and Tea, episode 13. Today is Saturday, November 1st, and it's a chilly day here. Temperatures dropped last night. We were 27 earlier this morning. I think we're up in the 40s today, but it's super chilly and I'm enjoying bundling up. And enjoying fall foods. We got up this morning and went out to breakfast, and my choice was either corned beef hash, or these were the daily specials. My choice was either corned beef hash or pumpkin pie pancakes, and I admit I went for the corned beef hash and was sorry I did because it wasn't super good. So then my husband said, oh, we need to go someplace else before we go home, and we went by Freddy's, which is steak burgers and custard, and he said you need to have a pumpkin pie custard, and so we ordered them, and it was custard with a whole slice of pumpkin pie, like dumped in there and then mixed up. So it was amazing. I mean, it was terrible, but it was amazing. So that's been this morning. And this evening I have a Halloween party to go to, so I'm wearing, I'll show you when I get to what I'm wearing. I'm wearing my Jack Skellington shirt for today, and then I'm kind of busy this weekend, so I thought I would record on Saturday. So I guess I'll start over. Hello, welcome to episode 13. I am Laura. You can find me on Ravelry as Fluffy K. I am on Twitter and Instagram as Fluffy Kira. I blog, and all of the show notes are over at the Corner of Knit and Tea. I also sell my handspun yarn in my Etsy shop, which is the Stash Buckler Adventures in Yarn. And finally, I have started a Ravelry group, which is called the Corner of Knit and Tea. So if you're on Ravelry, please come over and join us. We're just hanging out, talking about what we're knitting on and spinning on and what we're sipping. And I've also asked people who have podcasts to post in there and tell us where their podcasts are. So it's a great place to find other podcasts to watch if you're still looking for some. So I will go right into the episode. Today's tea is from the Republic of Tea. I got an order from them this week and they included this as a sample. It is hot apple cider herb tea. And it smells absolutely delicious. It smells like apple cider. And I am sipping this today in my Jenny the Potter mug. Last year, I was lucky enough to catch special orders in her shop, and I really wanted an owl in a tree, so it's a little turquoise owl in a tree, and the other side is just more tree branches. But that is what I've got today. Ooh, that's really good. It does taste like apple cider with just, it's a little bit, it's not quite as sweet as apple cider, and it's definitely got some tea under it, but it's got that nice apple taste, and that's just perfect. And I really just want to sit here the whole episode with the mug between my hands because it's nice and warm and I'm freezing. So yeah. Very nice apple cider tea from the Republic of Tea. If you're interested in kind of their fall or holiday flavors, I can definitely recommend it. I put a little bit of sugar in mine, no milk, and I'm just enjoying it. Yeah, delicious. So let's move on to what I am wearing. I am wearing the first lace that I actually ever knit. And you can see Jack Skellington now. He glows in the dark, although he won't glow in the dark right now because we're not in the dark. This is the Shoalwater Shawl by Evelyn Clark. It is basically feather and fan. So through the whole way. I knit it in Malabrigo lace, which is just the softest and most wonderful thing to have up against your neck and your face. It is merino. It is a single, and it is just amazing. I love, love, love Malabrigo lace. This is in the colorway Pagoda, and this is, like I said, this was one of the first lace shawls that I knit, and these days I pretty much, even though it's huge and I love wearing it the other way, I often wear it just like this because it's soft and cozy and warm, and it keeps me, it's perfect for under my coat. It keeps me nice and warm, and it is one of my favorites. I have gotten several other skeins of Malabrigo lace, and I need to knit another with plans to knit another triangle shawl or two and something big so that I can wear it exactly like this, because this is one of my favorite things to wear when it gets to be winter around here. So that is what I'm wearing. I will link all of that in the show notes. So now it's time to go on to what I've been knitting this week. I have a few finished objects this week. I was trying to tie up loose ends before the end of October. I did not get quite as much gift knitting done as I had hoped, because I was hoping to get a chunk of my Christmas gifts out of the way since they're very small. I didn't actually get all of those done, but I really did want to clear the decks for November, and I'll talk about that as well. So the first thing that I finished is another bunny. This is another Mario the Artistic Bunny by Jenna Krupar. This is in my own hand spun. It was 2 if by hand, and the colorway was footballs and flower tops, and it is one of my favorite colorways by them. And this cute little bunny is going to be Roxy's for Christmas. And all the same details pretty much as the others, the eyes and the nose, the little pom-pom tail. And I wasn't sure about this one because there were such bright stripes in it, but as it turns out, I really, really love it. I'm super excited. I hope that Roxy will love it. And after knitting 3 of these in a row, I might be going on a little bunny hiatus. I have plenty more eyes and nose. Actually, I had to order some more to finish this one, so now I have even more than that. And I have thought about knitting one for myself. These are super fun. They take me just a few nights. Actually, the only reason this one took me a little bit longer was because I had to wait for more eyes. I had noses, but I didn't have enough of the big eyes. And basically I knit the body on one night and all the other parts in the next night, and then just stuff it and make it up. So that is Mario, and he'll be going to live with Miss Roxy, who turned 1 yesterday. He will be going to live with her for Christmas. So he is done. The other thing that I finished is also for Roxy. I knit her the aviatrix cap earlier, and I had about half a skein left over. So I knit her another pair of leg warmies, and these will be for her. They're it's a worsted merino cashmere nylon, so they'll be nice and warm and soft for her. And I'll see if I can get you to see the colors a little bit better. Oh yeah, that's much better. It's greens and kind of a gray blue and kind of a magenta purple. So these are, the pattern is Leg Warmies by Alana Dacos. It actually is written for sport weight, and I've adapted it for a variety of weights. Cast on numbers are in my projects page on Ravelry. And the yarn, this beautiful yarn, is Huckleberry Knits. It's Cascara, which is their merino cashmere nylon worsted base, and the colorway was Lady Mary from Downton Abbey. So those are also done this week. And then the other thing I got done is I took my mini mittens with me to work on at lunchtimes, and I got 4 done. So I figured out that each mini mitten takes me about 45 minutes, which is basically a lunch hour. So I was able to knit all kinds of fun mittens this week. I am still working off of the big skein of just bits and pieces of leftovers. So they all ended up a little bit different colored, and this is just, I took all the scraps of my hand spun and put them together on a bobbin, plied them together, and now I'm just knitting from it, and I would say I've probably got at least 3 or 4 more out of that same skein of yarn, and I don't know how many more after that. So I've just been working on these in my free time. I have about 3 more weeks till the craft show, so I'll be finished with these soon until I see how they sell, but I might get a few more done before then. So that's my 3rd finished object of the week. I am not bringing Groovy in to show you. That's Groovy by Jumper Cables Knitting in the Twisted Fiber Arts Ariel in an evolution called Velvet. I did not work on that at all this week. However, since I finished my socks, which I guess I didn't bring in to show you, but there are pictures all over Instagram of my macaroon socks. Since I finished those, I think Groovy is going to be sort of my sock project for this month, and it will probably come with me to work every day, and it's just kind of mindless knitting anyway because it's just long rows now. So hopefully I will have progress to show you on that next week, but since I didn't make any progress on it, I didn't bring it in this week, which means I'm to my final item, which is casting on for my November sweater. Last week I talked to you about NaKniSweMo, which is National Knit a Sweater Month, and my choice was Porphyra, which is by Amy Miller, and it is a great raglan shaped cardigan. It doesn't close in front, but the fronts are generously wide, and it's got a big ribbed neckline. And I was just looking for something cozy and simple to knit. And so today is November 1st, which is cast on day. I have not cast on yet. What I did do, because unfortunately I was tied up with other things this week, and so I kind of waited till the last minute. Last night I did my swatch. And I want to talk just a little bit about swatches. I'm kind of a fly by the seat of my pants knitter, and I often don't swatch. So certainly anything that is not a garment. So a shawl, probably even a hat, socks, those kinds of things. I almost never swatch for those, particularly with shawls or scarves, because they can be a little bit big and gauge is not terribly important as long as I like the fabric that I'm getting. For sweaters, it just depends. I am kind of lazy. I will say that I don't often swatch for my sweaters, particularly if I'm using the yarn that is called for or something of a similar weight or gauge or something that I've knit before, so I kind of have an idea of how it will knit up. However, the Porphyra pattern calls for DK weight and gives a gauge of 6 stitches to the inch. And what I decided to use for it was Miss Babs' Yowza, which is technically, it classifies as a worsted weight, although I think it's on the light side of worsted. But because I was using a different weight yarn, I definitely needed to swatch because I'm going to need to do some math. Now it's a top-down raglan, so I can try it on as I go, so I'm not really concerned about it being too big or not fitting. However, I needed to do some math to kind of figure out how many stitches to cast on to begin with, or at least to figure out what my gauge would be, because I assume my gauge is not going to be 6 stitches to the inch. So last night I knit a swatch, and I didn't knit a huge swatch, but I knit a swatch just the same. You can see the color much better there. And actually, if you're looking at this, you'll probably notice that my swatch is not square. That is because I knit the first half of the swatch on one needle size and decided that I didn't like it so much. So the second half of the swatch I knit on a slightly larger needle size. This will also demonstrate the importance of gauge and of doing a gauge swatch if you are not sure what your gauge is going to be, because look at the difference between the bottom and the top. And if I were knitting a sweater that wanted the gauge on the bottom and I was knitting at the gauge on the top, then I would have a much wider sweater than I thought. So I have not done any counts yet. I washed this last night and waited for it to dry. Like I said, I think I cast on 30. I knit probably a dozen rows. Well, I knit a couple rows in garter stitch so that it wouldn't roll. I knit maybe a dozen rows in stockinette, and then a dozen rows on the smaller needle and a dozen rows on the larger needle. The other thing that I did so that I would be able to keep track of what needles I used for which, and this is a technique that I believe Jared Flood talks about, Brooklyn Tweed, is I tied knots in my, let's see if I can get this to a point where you can kind of see. I tied knots in my yarn to remind me what needle size I used. So on the bottom, I used a US size 6, so I tied 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 knots to remind me that that's what I did. And then at the top, I used a US 7, and it looks like I only tied 6 knots, so that's not very useful. Let's tie a 7th knot. to make my statement true. There we go, 7th knot. So now I have 7 knots on this side, and that reminds me that I used a US 7. Another way to do that in your swatch is you can do somewhere in the middle of the stockinette, you can do a couple purl bumps for how many, so I could have done 6 purl bumps in the middle or 7 purl bumps in the middle to decide what I want. And to answer your question, I'm still not sure I've decided what I want. I thought I wanted to knit it at a 6, and I knit it on the 6, and as I was knitting it, it didn't make as drapey a fabric as I was hoping for. It was kind of tight. So I decided to swatch on 7s, and as I was knitting it, I really, really liked the fabric the 7s was giving me. And I think I still do, but my other point is, so I didn't end up using the needle that I thought I would use, or at least I don't think I will. But my other point is that superwash, which Yowza is, grows some in blocking. And so what I'm not sure about now is you can see, you can kind of see, and it's because I'm also grasping it, but you can kind of see through the holes in the top more than you can see through the holes in the bottom. And so I'm not sure whether I like the 7 or the 6 better now. So I'm going to need to sit down with this afternoon and kind of play with it, see which fabric I like. I kind of still think I like the 7 better just by feel. But then I will need to get out my ruler and figure out how many stitches I'm getting per inch, and then sort of redo some math to try and cast on for that. So that's my little bit about swatches. If you have questions about swatches, please feel free to leave them. But again, this is my swatch of Miss Babs Yowza. It is in the Tulipa colorway. I'm trying to get you a good color representation. That's not bad. And this is going to be for the Perfora cardigan, and I am going to cast this baby on probably just about as soon as I'm done recording and do my math. So I will hopefully have quite a bit of progress to show you next week. This is going to be my big project for the month, so you will see this a lot. Whether or not I'll add in a few other little small things, I don't know, but this is definitely my main project for the month. This is for NaKniSweMo. Again, that's National Knit a Sweater Month. There is a group on Ravelry called NaKniSweMo. It's NaKniSweMo. I am a moderator over there. If you are interested in joining us, the aim of the group is just like NaNoWriMo, where you're supposed to write a novel of 50,000 words in the month of November. NaKniSweMo is to knit a sweater of 50,000 stitches in the month of November. So you are to cast on anytime today or later, and you are to cast off before November 30th. There are some prizes being offered over there if you manage to complete your sweater. So certainly come over, say hi if you're willing to join us, if you're interested, if you've been looking for a good excuse to knit a sweater and can devote your November time to it. I know November is gifty season, and I usually try and knit my gifts a little early so that I can definitely do a sweater. So that's my knitting. That's what's going on there this week. So that brings me to spinning. I believe last week I had showed you the Julie Spins BFL in the color Loyal Friend on the bobbin. And I did finish that this week. I finished it on Sunday after I recorded. And again, this is blues, purples, pinks, and a few pops of teal, which the camera isn't quite capturing the way I would like, but it's just a lovely skein of yarn. This was an oversized bump. It was 5.9 ounces, and I got, I believe, about 440 yards of a sport weight. This would be fabulous, fabulous socks because BFL, Blueface Leicester, is a longer, sturdier wool, and it is soft, but it would be great for socks. Also, given the yardage, you could easily make some kind of scarf or wrap from this. So that is in my shop now, and that one is done. The next one I showed you was in fiber form. It was from 2 If by Hand, and it was a superwash merino in the colorway India. and it was bright and riotous oranges, yellows, purples, and pinks, and it is finished. It came out very, actually, it totally reminds me of Halloween colors. So it definitely was the right thing to spin this week. I got approximately 330 yards of this one, of a sport weight as well. This is a regular 4.0 ounce sized skein, and this one will be going up in the shop later today. So if you are interested in something fun, it will be there for purchase. So that is that one, another one finished. Which brings me to what I will spin this week. A little while ago, I joined a co-op order from Western Sky Knits. I had always wanted to try her fiber, and she dyes primarily bright colorways. And this is Tinkerbell. And this is on an organic Polworth. It's just got every color imaginable. It's kind of a rainbow. It's got pinks and oranges and turquoise blue and brown and some purples. And I don't see any yellow, but I do, I don't see any yellow, but I do see green. And I think this one is just going to be tons of fun. So this is what I'm going to try and spin up this week. Hopefully I'll have that finished and be able to show you next week. And this will also be a shop braid because I am stocking my shop prior to November. For those of you, prior to the craft show and the holiday gift giving season, those of you who have been watching me, and I've been talking about all of these skeins that I've been spinning for the shop, December is going to be a very selfish month. December, I hope to have finished all of my gift knitting, and so in December, I think honestly, I am going to knit and spin for me. I have a few, I have one combo spin that I'd like to do where I have a couple different braids of fiber and I'd like to put them all together, which will give me a larger quantity. I hope it will result in an interesting color mix, and I'll be able to talk about that and show you that. But it will also give me a larger quantity to do something with for myself. They're colors that I really wanted to keep. I will be doing some traveling this month for the holidays, and I decided that I'm going to take a spindle and some smaller bits of fiber with me. So I hope to spend some time with my spindle, and I enjoy spindling, although it is much slower than my wheel. I particularly like spindling for spinning either samples or smaller quantities of poonies or bats or something that's 1 to 2 ounces rather than the full 4. I find that on my spindles, I feel like I have better control over what weight I'm spinning, and I have actually achieved spinning lace weight on a spindle, and I have not yet achieved that on my wheel, which is not to say that I or my wheel are not capable of that. Just with where I'm at in my spinning, I really haven't, honestly, I don't change the ratios that often on my wheel because I kind of have found a groove and a weight of yarn that I like. But I really like occasionally getting to spin some lace weight on a spindle, and I have a beautiful collection of spindles that I almost never use. So I hope I will be able to show you that as I do it. I also thought about taking the spindles with me because as we travel, they'll be easier to, I'm not going to take my wheel with me when we go visit my family. So I probably will take the spindles and see what I can do with that. So I think that's it for this week. I hope you've had a wonderful week. Thank you for spending this time with me. We are getting close to the next giveaway. The last I checked yesterday, we were up to 224 viewers on YouTube. And I said when we hit 250, I will be doing another giveaway, and I have some fun ideas for that. I think I've picked out some fiber, and it might be some hand spun. So, and after that, I think I may end up moving the contests over to Ravelry. just because that's an easy place to get everyone to congregate. So please do come and join that group. I will definitely, when I do contests or prizes, I will announce where you need to post, and I will post in the show notes where you need to post to be considered for that. Because it's because my goal was 250 subscribers on YouTube, that contest will be on YouTube, and it might even be next week. We'll just have to see. So I hope you have a wonderful week. Happy spinning, happy knitting, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time.